How do you briefly compare the mood and the public sentiment and the political dynamic which can be witnessed in New Delhi and Islamabad?
Well, as soon as this terror incident happened, there were genuine questions uh, inside India that this meadow in Pahalgam is around 400 kilometers away from a line of control dividing Pakistan and India. And India has around 700,000 security forces just in Jammu and Kashmir. And the security forces, their CRPF, were not too far away. How come this meadow was left unprotected for that period of time when this terror incident happened? Let's suppose that there were terrorists who crossed line of control, even if you believe it for a moment. It takes them a long time to come to that valley. And in order to conduct such terror operation, you need a lot of preparation, logistics. That's an area where you can only go by foot or by ponies. So that shows a massive intelligence failure on part of Indian state that's solely responsible after the abrogation of Article 370 and 35A in 2019. Then if you go and look at the FIR that has come out today, that was lodged, the time of terror incident reported in the FIR is different from what was reported by Indian media. Indian media has been vociferously saying that the terrorists checked everybody, asked them for the identification, and then shot them dead. The FIR says just the opposite. The terrorists came and they just indiscriminately fired guns and killed people. So a lot of questions about the claims of Indian security forces were blown away by the questions raised in India. Instead of answering those questions, the easiest way was to blame Pakistan, and that route was adopted through Indian jingoistic media. So far, the Indian screaming media has been the judge, the jury, and the executioner. So that has what has happened. But after these incidents, when the day before yesterday, Indian Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri announced these punitive actions, what has happened in India and what Pakistan decided after the National Security Committee meeting, the announcement of India to hold Indian Indus Water Treaty in abeyance, we have to see how they implement it, because it doesn't look like it's implementable, even at home, let alone fighting the legal case, because India has no case. So even Indian experts are saying that this announcement uh, is a hogwash because India does not have the wherewithal, the technical resources, and has not calculated the implications, how they will do this. But Pakistani actions announced are already biting India by closing the airspace. We have more Indian airlines passing Pakistani airspace westward, going to Central Asia, going to Europe, going to America. And the economic cost of these diversions would run Indian civil aviation bankrupt. And this would be fully utilized by other airlines of the Gulf as well as other countries. If you check the stats of the Indian stock market for 2 days in a row, it's going south. So I don't think this tension is sustainable even for India. But in larger geo-economic terms, as you follow those developments very closely, the economic wars that have ensued and have actually been jacked up after Mr. Trump, there was a possibility of India taking advantage out of it and replacing China as a manufacturing hub and more economic fruits coming to India. But if your country is going to war with its neighbor, which happens to be a nuclear neighbor, who in their right mind will think of investing in India? If you remember, in 2008, India had to finally back down and retreat on its tensions with Pakistan when Western firms started leaving India. So the longer implications for this tension actually go against India rather than Pakistan.
That's a very, I think, comprehensive analysis, Mr. Solangi. And if I were to briefly add 3 points to it, that if we look at the first 48 hours of this emerging Indo-Pakistan crisis, and we look at the 4 domains of lawfare, diplomacy, economics, and security, then it seems that after the first days of unilateral actions announced by the Secretary of Indian Ministry of External Affairs, it seems that after Pakistan National Security Committee met, the response by Pakistan indicated a source of escalation dominance in all these 4 domains in the first 48 hours. In terms of the lawfare, since the announcement was basically tantamount to violation of the Indus Water Treaty, which is a bilateral treaty brokered by World Bank, Pakistan rightly pointed out that the text of the Indus Water Treaty does not offer an option or clause to either side to hold it in abeyance. Therefore, this right or option does not exist with India or Pakistan, number one. Secondly, if at all India wants to do it physically or legally, Pakistan will respond in kind in both domains. Legally, if they were to violate this treaty, then Pakistan will reconsider all bilateral treaties with India, including Simla Accord, which represents the diplomatic victory for India after the 1971 war, in which Pakistan reluctantly conceded that ceasefire line should be considered as a line of control. And this is the aspiration of the most Kashmiris living on both sides of the line of control, which that this artificial line has divided their families, and allowed India to consolidate their military occupation in the Indian occupied Kashmir. So if the Pakistan is given this opportunity to do away with the line of control, then it will be welcomed by Kashmiris on both sides, and it will weaken the political and legal justification of Indian control and occupation of Indian occupied Kashmir. That's the legal dimension. Let's come to the physical dimension. Now, if India, as you rightly pointed out, currently does not have the capacity to stop or divert the waters of the three main rivers flowing to Pakistan under the Indus Water Treaty, but if it were to do so, Pakistan has given a very clear, unambiguous, and timely strategic signal that any instrument, base, facility, or weapon system which is used to divert or stop Pakistani national right and national lifeline, which sustains 240 million Pakistanis, then Pakistan will use all its elements of national power, full spectrum of its power potential to protect its national security and national interests. So that is the physical response. I think in the political dimension, it has actually come as a good opportunity for Pakistan, a blessing in disguise. We are tired of discussing domestic politics in the last 2.5 years. And thankfully, I must appreciate Mr. Modi for allowing Pakistani political parties, despite their criticism of the government and differences and ambition to return to power, they were forced to stand by Pakistan Armed Forces and national leadership and putting aside all their differences. So thank you, Mr. Modi, for allowing all Pakistani political forces to join hand and look at you rather than with each other. So in the political dimension, this has also come as a blessing in disguise. In the economic dimension, you have also rightly pointed out that the economic damage that this unilateral illegal Indian action will cause India will be costlier. The initial assessment is $50 million per month will be the loss to the Indian aviation industry, which will mean if it runs for 6 months, it will be $3 billion. Secondly, it will affect their transit trade, their trade routes and everything. So the longer it persists, the longer and the more money and losses India's economy will suffer. And I think in the kinetic domain, let me stop short by saying that after 6 years of the Pulwama crisis, today Pakistan's Air Force, Navy, Army, and strategic forces are much more ready, much more well armed, much more aware, and much more capable. So, and you know very well, Lieutenant General Syed Munir was DGISI 6 years ago, and we showed a patient, magnanimous face under General Bajwa. But today, General Munir is Army Chief. He has served as Commander of FCNA. He knows Kashmir very well. And I don't think this time Pakistan will be patient. And if India attempts any misadventure, I think this time they will receive a more effective and costly and embarrassing response.